Trump's name has been removed from the Kennedy Center, and you know what Trump did in response? Trump put forward an emergency motion to stop the removal of his name from the Kennedy Center on the grounds of the immediate harm being that if his name gets removed, he will cut funding to it and make the building collapse. I'm not joking. So basically, the only way that Trump could get an emergency ruling, barring the judge's ruling, is by invoking the threat of immediate harm. And the immediate harm that he's suggesting might happen is harm that he himself is threatening to cause by cutting all funding to the building. How is that legal? That's a great question, man. Mafia type shit? Here, let me find it. Craziest shit I ever seen in my life. Like making the legal argument that the threat of immediate harm is you. Like I will, like if you don't let me have my way, I will destroy it. Let me find it. He actually wrote the stay himself. Did I not retweet it? I thought I retweeted it. Hold on. If I look up Trump wrote on Twitter, I know Twitter's not necessarily where I need to go to find this, but it is where I want to go. Here we go. Donald Trump just filed his emergency stay in the DC circuit to keep his name on the Kennedy Center, and it's batshit crazy. He clearly wrote big pieces himself. Defendants respectfully seek a stay pending appeal of the district court's permanent injunction requiring the removal of all physical signage reflecting the name Donald J. Trump. The appeal raises serious questions about Article 3 standing and the powers of Center's board. Okay, hold on. The district court is not allowing us to close in order to properly fix up and repair the building, including potentially life-threatening structural damage like beams and parking garage ceilings that are rusted and in serious danger of falling onto people below. Indeed, total collapse. Here's where Trump wrote. Moreover, stripping Trump's name from the center threatens to substantially undermine fundraising and financial viability at the most sensitive point in his history. So remember, they closed the Kennedy Center because after Trump slapped his name on there, no artist would perform there. Like, Trump tried to turn it into a little Nazi, like, Wagner Hall or whatever, and literally no one would perform there. So he just said, fuck it, I'll just close it anyway. And now he's saying that removing his name would harm fundraising, and the fundraising is necessary to prevent life-threatening structural damage like beams and parking garage ceilings that are rusted. All this so he can keep his name in the building. It is insane how fragile he is. I know it's not like a novel bit of commentary on my part, but he really is like the most narcissistic person to have ever lived. It genuinely rivals like the emperors and kings of past eras. It's so like, if there were monarchs this narcissistic in the past, I feel like historians around them wouldn't have written it down because it would have brought shame to them and their empire and their people and everything to have had a leader that narcissistic. Many of them, like the Kennedy Center, are losing hundreds of millions of dollars per year being lost in the Kennedy Center, apparently. Because the district court's order otherwise requires compliance by end of the day today, defendants respectfully request an administrative stay pending resolution of the motion. Without the name Trump on the building, our fundraising will not only come to a halt, but any and all monies raised or committed would be obligated to be returned, refunded, or terminated. The bylaws of the Trump Kennedy Center state unequivocally, the corporation may make donations to the center in support of its educational, artistic, cultural, and performance art functions, provided, however, that in so doing, the board of directors shall condition such donations to the center upon the name of the center remaining unchanged. So they, in his brief period of time where he was in control of the Kennedy Center by appointing people to its board of directors, they made it so that, I guess, they don't get funding unless Trump's name is on the building. Millions of dollars were given to the center. They were only willing to do so with the name Trump on the building. Many did it because they loved the concept of two great presidents, one Republican, one Democrat, working together as one. In many ways, a bipartisan relationship. All of this money, hundreds of millions of dollars, this is fake. The Kennedy Center has not raised hundreds of millions of dollars in the past year and a half. That's not real. Will have to be immediately returned or not received by the center. No one else other than President Trump would be in the position of both rebuilding the building and raising the money for its operation. As an example, President Trump has already raised from Congress $258 million for construction of the new and highly improved Kennedy Center. So in this same motion, he says the Kennedy Center could not be repaired unless he gets money afforded to the Kennedy Center from donations that were only given because his name was on the building. But then he says, well, funding came from Congress, actually. I have a hard time believing this is going to fly with DC district courts, but like, who knows, man? Could you change your horse profile pic? Why the fuck would I ever do that? What the fuck are you talking about? But for onlookers who have gathered on the plaza in front of the center over the past day, hoping to witness a dramatic moment symbolizing the limits of Trump's power, it was virtually impossible to see whether the signage was gone. A tarp hung over the scaffolding constructed for workers to perform the task. They're probably not removing the tarp right now because they're waiting to see how this plays out legally. He's such a little bitch, man. Like, it's insane. Again, like, I know it's not novel. It's been said a million times, but he really is like the least stoic, least masculine human to have ever lived. No one else even comes close. It's crazy that, and I mean, maybe it's fair. Maybe it's like in like keeping with the legacy of fascism, because Trump, you know, is a giant bitch and a queen, and Hitler was like a beta male himself. It's true. It's known. I don't know. God. Remember, for the cost of constructing this, we could have had 2 years of construction on the Sagrada Familia. If you did January 6th and got away with no consequences, you'd also act like this. That's kind of fair, yeah. Genuinely. I don't know, like, yeah, who do you blame more? Like the pathological sociopathic narcissist who gets whatever he wants, or the like people who keep giving him whatever he wants? Merrick Garland could have sent his ass to the Shadow Realm. I will never get over that, man. I will never get over. I remember after J6, everyone, every Democratic voter, every liberal in the country, and basically every independent and a lot of Republicans were like, oh, I guess Trump's going to the Shadow Realm. Like, even on Fox News. On Fox News, they were literally like, I guess he's going to the Shadow Realm, you know? Whoops, yeah, we memed a little bit too close to the sun with this one. But now I feel like I live in an alternate reality where people want to gaslight me into thinking that back then everyone didn't expect Trump to get sent to the Shadow Realm. You know what I mean? Like, now I feel like people, they try to gaslight me. They're like, well, I mean, it could have happened. It could have not happened. It was complicated. No, dude, everyone thought his ass was going to jail after that. Everyone did. But it's like we're not willing to confront the fact that the Democratic Party allowed this to happen, you know? They went after the J6 rioters. Even then, they didn't go after J6 rioters for the charge they should have gone after, which was, you know, sedition, like that's an actual crime, you know. But they went after like trespassing, but they were using violence to stop the result of an election. It is definitionally sedition. I don't know why they didn't. And then they were pardoned. Yes. Well, the only reason they were pardoned is because Trump got to be president again. The only reason Trump got to be president again is because his ass didn't get sent to the Shadow Realm. Like, if you want, you can look up legally what the federal law sedition refers to, what it refers to, and it's crystal clear. It's a one-to-one application. It's not like, it wouldn't be some like esoteric application of it or whatever. It's literally like, this is the reason why we have the term sedition. It's the reason why we have the law sedition. It's very straightforward. Double jeopardy, Thana, for the same act. Not that it matters, man. There's like no fucking law anyway. It doesn't fucking matter. Who cares? What the fuck is Trump posting about right now? Is this an AI image of Trump walking around? Where is this meant to be? Mar-a-Lago? What is this? Like an AI corridor? Him saying the Obama National Library is a dump. In fairness, I hate it. I really do. It feels like the final signature of contempt from Obama. Like, he got to oversee the last years of the Republic before fascism like really took root. So he wants to make like this big, ugly, like brutal. Why brutalism? Why is it ugly? Why? It's like you hate us. What is it? Well, the real one doesn't have a big trash bag on it. Are you sure? Have you checked? Not recently, no. Brutalism is cool. What are you talking about? Yeah, but it's often misused. And I'm sorry, the Obama library is ugly. It just is. It's a big brick sitting in the middle of like a garden that does not match it in any way. It does not accompany or accentuate it. It's just a brick, and it's like what you're meant to look at it and think. I'm sorry, no. I'm not impressed at all. It's opening in just a couple days, right? June 19th? I don't respect it. Trump once more saying the kind of shit that would get any Dem president straight up lynched by the Hicks. This is funny as fuck, dude. Trump doesn't give a shit about American football because he is an effete Ivy League, East Coast, liberal, urban city dweller type, like he always has been. He doesn't give a fuck about American football, but I guarantee you he dislikes it being called football because of his Emirati connections. Like, he spent enough time in Dubai or Saudi, or, you know, Riyadh or whatever, that he's had to listen to a bunch of, you know, Saudi royals complain about American football being called American football, which they have an issue with because they're interested in buying up all of our culture, you know? So they have to like juggle American football and globally soccer, which is called football by everyone else.
When you look at what has happened to football in the United States, again, soccer in the United States, we seem to never call it that because we have a little bit of a conflict with another thing that's called football. But when you think about it, shouldn't it really be called? I mean, this is football. There's no question about it. We have to come up with another name for the NFL stuff. Yeah. It really doesn't make sense when you think about it. It is really football.
If Obama said this, he would have been... His presidency would have come... If he had said this in his first term, he wouldn't have had a second. I'll say that much. And that's a fact. However, America's opening game? No. American football is another phenomenal example of a sport that just shouldn't exist, in my opinion, purely because of its accident rate. It's crazy to me how destructive that sport is to your body for a non-combat sport. I mean, it's kind of a combat sport, but you know what I mean. Like, my opposition to it is purely just like it is just completely destructive to the body and brain, and it's boring. Well, I find a lot of sports boring, but I understand that I'm not really the target demographic there. Yeah, it is like really, 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 really bad for you, which isn't great, you know? It doesn't create a good like culture with your athletes either. Boxing too. Listen, at least boxing is a direct combat sport. But also like, I think football is worse for you than boxing, I'm pretty sure. I think so. I think boxing would probably be better for you if it was bare knuckle. Like the problem with boxing is that because you have the big gloves, it doesn't hurt your face as much to take a punch. You can tank a punch to your face easier, but it knocks your brain around just as much. So the glove minimizes the consequences to your hands and to your external face, you know, but it does not in any way reduce the consequences to your brain. So I'm pretty sure bare knuckle boxing would be, it's actually to protect your hands. Oh, sure. But having protection on your hands means that you can punch a face as hard as you can. Whereas if your hands were unprotected, you would have to be more careful and strategic with your strikes, you know? The gloves cause more brain damage, even though bare knuckle boxing would look a lot more brutal. You'd feel at the wrist, yeah? I mean, yeah, like, well, punching something really fucking hurts your hand. It really hurts. You can like, you know, bandage your knuckles and that'll help a bit, but for the most part, it's yeah, that shit hurts. Rates of concussion from gloved boxing are also far lower. Is that true? My understanding is that it's the exact opposite. Like the directly the opposite. That brain damage rates have gone up since the widespread introduction of gloves because you can punch as hard as you want because the gloves protect your hand, and also there's less like superficial damage that you sort of determine to end the fight, I guess. I don't know, whatever. There was less head punching before boxing gloves existed. Yeah, because a head's like hard, you know? You would want to punch the gut more. Whatever. I'm no expert. I'm just riffing. It's fine. I don't want to get somebody... if I'm not careful, somebody in the Reddit's going to be like, this is why I can't stand watching Vosh anymore. Ever since he stopped doing debates, whenever that was. Anyway, he was a fucking idiot on his boxing takes. He was stupid and wrong, and it frustrates me that he never accepts criticism when he's wrong. Anyway, this is why I prefer watching, I don't know, I could say, they couldn't say Destiny, because that'd be too on the nose, right? They would have to say, like, this is why I don't watch it anymore. I loved you forever. I was the biggest fan of yours, but since you no longer do research streams into bare knuckle boxing and the effects that it has on your body, yeah, no, I don't know. Old Vosh would have done a boxing glove research stream, but instead he just concludes, I am kind of conclude. Hold on. Does gloved boxing cause more brain? Yes, glove boxing does more long-term brain damage than bare knuckle fighting. Okay, that seems straightforward. Statistical data from organizations like the Association of Ringside Physicians indicate gloved fights result in higher concussion rates and a greater risk of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, than bare knuckle contests for a variety of reasons. Okay, there you go. That's the bad one? Well, yeah, don't want brain damage. Would rather have face damage than brain damage, in my opinion. There's a theory football players hit harder because their gear gives a false sense of security. Well, also, literally no gear that you can wear protects your brain. Like, the brain damage is just caused by G-forces from your head moving quickly and then not moving anymore. Like, you can put armor around your head, but the limiting factor here is that if you get hit hard enough in the head, it'll rattle your skull, the brain in the skull, you know? You could armor the fuck out of it. You would need like armor that cushions your head so well that the force enacted on your head is distributed like laterally across the armor rather than like directly into the head, causing the brain to bounce, which is like, you could wear armor that would do that, but past a point you're just wearing mechs. you're just going into the field with mechs, you know? You're on here, while football's still bad for your head. Football helmets are insanely effective. But don't the football helmets like enable you to do charges that you wouldn't do otherwise? Like the presence of the football helmet now means that you're incentivized to do the kind of collisions that you wouldn't do if you had a bare head. No, helmets are bad. I don't think helmets are bad. I like the limiting factor is the brain jiggling. Yes and no. Helmets encourage risky plays, which results in more CTE. Okay, it's maybe more complicated with football gear than it is with like gloved boxing, which I think is just like flatly more dangerous to the brains. I'm not anti-helmet. I'm just saying like the rules of football seem to incentivize really dangerous plays. Yeah, like rugby's not as bad for you as football, but they're not wearing as much armor. I don't know. I don't know the rules for rugby. You should get into baseball. Baseball is the worst sport God ever made. It is boring to watch. I'm sorry. It's fun to play and all because you get to spend most of the time chewing gum and like standing in the shade, but it is boring as fuck to watch. I'm sorry. And I've been to a lot of Dodgers games. Golf is worse. Okay, golf is worse. Why do you think the Japanese love it? Because they're all like Westaboos. Have you tried bouldering before? Yes. Typing up an essay on Reddit right now about baseball not being boring. Yeah. Baseball with the recent rule changes have been a lot better to watch. Rule changes. Okay, my favorite sports to watch, personally, apart from combat sports, which by the way, I almost never watch sports. Sometimes I will go on a little binge and I'll be like, let me take a look at the world of judo. How are people flipping people these days, you know? Whatever. But I don't really watch sports. But in my opinion, my favorite non-combat sports are sports that are basically combat sports anyway. Tennis, volleyball. I like it when you have two people or two teams squaring off face to face and you have a very specific rule set dictating the nature of their direct interpersonal violence. Like tennis is, as far as I'm concerned, a combat sport. You go out there and your job is to kill the opponent with your ball. I don't care what the rules are. That is the point. You hit it as hard as you can and your goal is to shoot that shit straight smooth through their brain and hollow them out. It is a combat sport. Same with volleyball. Okay, now I am unironically going to the Reddit. No! Fuck! Can't say shit over here.